I'm back. United 2, Brentford 1. United finally give the fans something to cheer about at Old Trafford. United come off the international break in a very weird position. It's Ten Hag's third season. United were in 14th place. The team has had trouble scoring goals in the league, and there's been a ton of noise in the media about whether or not Ten Hag would be sacked, during the second international break. Now, a lot of that noise, or all of that noise, was basically media-driven, and Ten Hag even called them out as liars yesterday for posting all this negative information about himself, the players in the club, and the fact that Ineos were talking to Thomas Tuchel about taking over the job as United manager, even though Tuchel had already accepted the role as England manager a few days before this article was posted. So obviously it was media lies, and Ten Hag called them out on it, but that doesn't change the fact that United haven't started the season well, and a loss today would have meant all that pressure would have continued and come back tenfold. On top of that, Brentford's manager Thomas Frank, he's been mooted as one of the best choices to take over as next United manager, and a victory today means that there'd be another 1,000 articles in the next week about how great Thomas Frank is, how much better he is than Ten Hag, and how he should be the next Manchester United manager. My first key takeaway was it was a tale of two halves. United did start well in the first half, and while they did create a few chances and generally had more possession and more control, there was still glimpses of United's usual defensive frailty and sloppy possession and defending. Brentford had a ball that flashed across United's 6-yard box at some point around 10 minutes or so, and though it turned into nothing, Ligt cleared it out for a corner. It was one of those, boneheaded plays that you see from United lately in the last 2 years, basically, where, even though they have a lot more control in possession in the match, they still allow that sort of great chance. And even though there was no one on the end to take advantage, it's something that United really need to cut out moving forward. And it's something that's been symptomatic of United, not just this year, but in the last couple of years. Although you could, when Brentford did end up scoring that goal at the end of the first half, you could make the argument that it was against the run of play. And, in these situations, it almost feels like, there's karma and the world is going against United, even though it felt like, listen, I heard that, it shouldn't have been a corner. I don't know if that's true or not, but they're saying that corner that they were given should have been a goal kick maybe, or it was out of bounds. I don't remember what people were saying. But at the same time, it still felt like it was the right rule. But for Ligt to come off in that moment for us to concede, it just felt like everything was against us. And I get it, get blood pouring down the side of his head. You can't leave him on the pitch for that. But I think the fact that we conceded in that fashion, it angered the players, it angered the coaching staff. Both Ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy both got yellows in that situation, and it angered the fans. They were booing when we were coming off the field, and it didn't feel like they were booing United. It felt like they were booing the ref and what happened. And I think it looks like the team went into the locker room at halftime, and they used that anger to fuel their fire for the second half, because it came out, the team came out, and they just basically dominated Brentford from minute one in the second half. And they came out swinging, United, not only did they create chance after chance, but they pressed well. They won the ball back. I know there was a few tactical tweaks made really, early in the second half that also confused Brentford a little bit. But it felt like, we came out with an energy and a passion that we were going to win this match. And Brentford never really threatened from that point on. And hopefully, the team can keep this energy up moving forward. My second key takeaway is that the players are still playing for the manager. Now, I've heard that some people believe that these players have quit on this manager, not playing for this manager, but that's just nonsense. If you look at the way that we fought back in multiple games this year, then the players are still playing for this manager. The effort that they've put in, the way they're pressing hard all game, the way they were tracking back today, players are not only playing for the manager, but they're playing for each other and they're playing for the badge. I've watched United go sideways under the previous three managers, if you include Ragnick, and you can tell when the players are quitting or they're not giving their all. I feel like this team has a self-belief that you almost don't expect with the results that they've been getting lately. And you have to give a credit to the players and the coaching staff for keeping their mentality strong and keeping the team on side here, especially when they know all the pressure that's going to come when they don't perform and when things don't go their way. As far as player performance, the goalkeepers, Onana was very good today. He couldn't do much about the goal that Brentford scored, and he had a very nice save in the first half against a hard shot on target, kind of low to that right-hand corner. His distribution, as always, was very good, and he was able to find Højlund a bunch of times on long balls that set our attackers onto their defense, throughout the match. I think, hopefully that's him developing a little bit of chemistry, because we can't always play out from the back. Sometimes it's easier to try to bypass the defense. But I think he had a nice mix today of when to go short and when to go long. Just to give him a quick shout out, though, he's someone who in the last year or so, many fans have tried to turn on and force out of the club. And I think a lot of players might have buckled under that pressure, but he showed his mentality and his belief in himself. And I think he's been super solid all year, as well as in the league, at least last year, being solid. So I think he's been one of our best players this year. So shout out to Onana for that. Very good match from the defense today. Aside from a few shaky moments in the first half, I thought the defense was very solid. Ligt was very good. He was sniffing out a lot of the danger balls into the channels, which I thought was very good. He was anticipating these balls. They had a very quick front line. And also, this is the best game I think we've seen Ligt play at left back since he's been at United. He was very solid on the ball and in build-up, and he actually had a couple overlaps here and there. But also he pocketed Brentford's most dangerous attacker in Bueno. I thought Johnny Evans and Delo were solid as well. Johnny Evans won a few headers, always in the right position. Delo also looked solid moving back to his natural right back position. Also was able to sneak forward for a few long balls from Onana. We saw this last year a couple times. He was able to make these runs. He almost scored a goal today. The defender fell down next to him, which I think threw him off just enough to stop the goal. But he looked good today. As far as the midfield, I thought the midfield was very solid as well. Casemiro and Eriksen were very compact defensively, and they were very tidy on the ball offensively as well. I'm going to be a little controversial here. I think Mainu is our best midfielder, but I think Casemiro and Eriksen are our best double pivot pairing, at least right now. It's not the it's not the pair that we want moving forward, but I think for right now, to kind of steady the ship, their intelligence on the ball for the most part, their composure, their experience. I think that's our best midfield performing pair right now, as well as their long passing can kind of help release our wingers and forwards against the defense in transition, which we saw today. Bruno, I think, was very good today. Kind of had a floating role, something that he's had in the past, but we haven't seen it really as much this season. He was kind of coming deep today and helping to link up play in the build-up, coming deep and, dinking those balls over to Ligt on the right-hand side to kind of, kill any kind of press that Brentford was trying to give us. And then, he also got the assist for Højlund's goal. Great flick in the attacking third. He pressed well. Captain's performance for Bruno today, I think. I think he's still pressing a little bit on his shots and, still like the occasional Hollywood ball today, but I thought he was much tidier in possession, and him dropping deep made sure that our double pivots were not isolated like they were in the past. As far as the attack, I thought this was one of the best performances the front three of Rashford, Garnacho, and Højlund have shown in the last two seasons. They started the match with Rashford and Højlund playing together in a front two, but then Rashford seemed to rotate between, playing that striker role and playing on the right wing. But it does look like they still need a little bit of chemistry, and they don't always know what run each other are going to make. But they look dangerous together all match, and they were looking for each other, even though they, weren't always connecting on those passes. Rashford hit Garnacho for the for the first goal with a brilliant cross from the right channel. All Garnacho had to do was run onto it and kind of like put his foot through it, and he scored. But it looks like, there was a willingness, one, to run at the defense, two, to kind of look for each other, and three, probably most importantly, to kind of give that energy defensively, whether they were pressing or they were tracking back. There was a moment in the first half where there was a dangerous pass kind of trying to get through our center back and left back, and Garnacho had gotten back and he kind of did a sliding tackle and intercepted that pass. And then when, Delot started venturing forward in the second half, there was a few moments where Rashford tracked all the way back to right back, and he was like solid defensively on that right-hand side all throughout the match. So I did tweet a few weeks ago that I didn't think these guys could play together anymore. It didn't make sense to play Rashford and Garnacho together, especially not with Højlund, without sort of that link up in between. But the way they played together today and for the team, I think it showed me something, and these guys can play together moving forward. Moving forward, United play Fenerbahce in Istanbul on Thursday in a Europa League reunion with former United coach Jose Mourinho and former United midfielders Fred and Sofiane Amrabat. United need to start winning some of these Europa League matches to make sure we make it to the knockout round, as winning this cup might be our best chance of making it into the Champions League next year. That would also make it 3 trophies in 3 years for Ten Hag, which would be big for himself and for the team. And also, United's next match after that is against a beautiful West Ham team in the league in London. 3 wins this week would see a dark cloud lifted off of the United season and inject some much needed positivity into the club and into the fan base as well. Look, I have to be honest. It's been a pretty dark season so far. United have improved on some of the problems that we have last year as far as conceding a ton of shots and also lacking control in most games. We've seen improvements there. We've also seen very little improvement on the goal scoring, although we have been creating more chances this year than last year, although that's gone away a little bit the last few matches. But like with all the media pressure on the manager and the players, most of it's coming from the media. Some of it's coming from the fans. Some of it is very deserved. Some of it I think is not. I think it's over the top, sort of just negative nonsense. It's made this season a tough watch for myself and for other United fans. I know I've heard it from you online and in person. So personally, for me, I'm an optimistic person. I want to support this club. I want to have hope that the best is going to happen. If it doesn't happen, if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. If the manager leaves, if the players leave, whatever. But at the same time, it's more fun for me to believe that we can turn it around. And if the coaches, the fans, and the players themselves believe, then maybe we can accomplish something this year. Maybe we can get, top 4. Maybe we can get another trophy. Maybe we get Europa League and, get top 4 and a trophy together, or Champions League and a trophy together. Either way, I'd rather, look at each match optimistically rather than go into it thinking negatively it's going to ruin my day or whatever. So I know there's going to be more setbacks, but at the same time, I'm going to continue to try to be positive, regardless of what happens in the next few matches. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you've made it this far, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below. Let me know if you think United could turn around or if I'm completely out of my mind. Either way, let's go. Let's win on Thursday in Istanbul against Fenerbahce and up the Reds.